Vic?
Yeah. We was talking about Africa. There's a lot of Africans mad. Listen, I ain't mean to get y'all mad. You're not gonna make me say I'm African. I'm not African. But I didn't say y'all stink. Even though we talking about stink, you stink. It's Americans who stink too. But I never said y'all stink. He was on there saying, he tried to go through my last name and this and that and this. Look, if you want to believe that, would you try to acknowledge me? If you want, nigga.
She said you was a slave owner. Giles' name.
I saw Cameron saying he's not an African and Africa stinks.
I'm not African. Same went to Africa and told me people stink.
Now, obviously, this is ridiculously disrespectful and ignorant, but I love Killer. So let's approach this empirically. Why don't we do a history of the name Cameron Giles? Giles is a medieval French name, originally used by the followers of a one Saint Giles, a nigga that looked like this. Not exactly a striking resemblance, even if you put him in a pink fur. On the other hand, there were plenty of slaveholders named Giles. Written records trace the human beings they enslaved to Africa, oftentimes referring to them as Coromantese if they was from modern-day Ghana, Mandingos if they were from the Sahel, Igbos if they were from modern-day Nigeria. But clearly, the name Giles was passed down from someone who enslaved Africans. Now, if modern science places human beings at 300,000 years old and the oldest archaeological evidence of Homo sapiens is in Africa, Morocco, South Africa, Ethiopia, then I struggle to understand how 500 years here erases 299,500 years in Africa. Culturally, you resonate with America. Fine, that's a nationality. You may have European or indigenous blood, but your ancestral origin is overwhelmingly African. Take a DNA test. You tell me what it says. I can see Killer being like Cherokee, but you finna have a lot of Nigeria in there, my guy. Don't get mad at me because I love Cam. But like, Africa stinks? Come on. I mean, it stinks everywhere, nigga. My dog's just backyard. Now my backyard stinks.
Whatever they want to call it, I don't give a that's the problem, right? Niggas will come back with this. Niggas be like, yo. Niggas be like, this right here is a fossil that was created in Africa. We did all the research on it and it traced back to where the name Phillips was a slave on, whatever last name. And this is why we know Middle Eastern. Nigga can't get the story right from last week. You see, this is what I'm trying to tell you, right? This is what I'm trying to tell you. Saying that I said Africa 6, I didn't even say that. So therefore, how are we supposed to believe which from that you know what's going on 2,000 years ago if you don't know what's going on last week? In history of 1,500 years ago when you can't get the story right from last week. That's light skin disrespect, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Y'all like these niggas gotta be stopped, nigga. Y'all gotta be stopped, my nigga. Stop clickbaiting and trolling. And I wish I could say I f you too, but I don't know what you do like that. See you on the Shy and look at character. He a character?
He's a good character on the Shy. You can give him a look.
They killed him off. They murdered the nigga. Didn't they murder the nigga? They killed him off the show. He ain't that good. And they keep the good niggas around. What else go to? Let's Google the nigga. You want attention? Let's Google. I don't like these niggas who look at the camera like this and they mind this.
That's light skin. That is light skin. Oh, my bad, son. My bad, son.
Like this. Niggas be looking like that. I don't like that.
Niggas said the eye squint.
Oh, this nigga on LSD. That's what, all right, I see what's going on.
Oh, yeah, huh? Come on,
yeah,
man.
He probably LSD when he tried to come back in the country. Yeah. I ain't gonna argue with a nigga on LSD.
Yo, it's Big Ant the Spokesman, and we're back with another episode of Urban Politicians TV, man. UPTV. Make sure you stay sharp and keep your pivot at all times, because I had to tap in on this one. I left a link in the description where you can check out the clips from the beginning and get the full context of what Croy actually said, because he was clearly joking and throwing a few more shots into the conversation. They were clowning him a little harder over that Rockefeller tattoo, with one dude saying Jay-Z don't even have a Rockefeller tattoo, and he basically responded like maybe he was just a fan. And I'm sitting there thinking, bruh, that was crazy. But man, the whole segment was honestly hilarious, especially after what happened last week when they were discussing Africa and Vic Mensa took Cameron's comments completely out of context. Cameron wasn't saying those things as his own opinion. He was repeating something somebody else had said, and everybody in that conversation was obviously laughing, joking, and messing around. It wasn't some serious statement. And you already know these guys are comedians, so anybody watching should understand what kind of conversation this was. But Vic Mensa came through eating his oranges, ready to pull out the encyclopedia, and then use the whole situation as an opportunity to go to Don V. So I'm not about to sit here and start digging up ancient history and pulling fossils out of the ground, but let me make one thing perfectly clear. I don't care how much information Vic Mensa digs up or how much research he does, because we all carry an iPhone around every single day, which is basically a computer sitting in our pockets. You can search Google, use AI, look at the context clues, apply some common sense, and put the pieces together to figure out what might have actually happened. At the end of the day, new information can always come to light, and there's no question about that. Whether you think somebody is right, wrong, somewhere in the middle, or you simply agree to disagree, I'm not taking Vic Mensa's word as gospel, because Gamro came right back to Instagram and posted a video he found of Vic Mensa wearing a Confederate flag dress, and the dude was fully dressed in drag with the wig, lipstick, and everything you could possibly imagine. At that point, I'm like, nah, bruh, I'm not listening to you about anything. Cameron even put a caption on the post basically telling Vic, this is you, leave me alone until you can explain this, and called him a fake activist. And honestly, it is what it is, because Cameron said he was supposed to be back in 3 weeks and was trying to enjoy his vacation, but apparently everybody wanted to get him fired up early. He even reminded people that he's working 5 days a week, so once you start poking him, you already know what time it is. And then he went another level deeper by posting that clip from Paid in Full with Vic crying inside the car and everything, just completely roasting him. You have to understand that Cameron is a troll, and if you come at him with bad intentions, especially when you're twisting his words to make it look like he was attacking people, he's gonna fire right back. Nah, bruh, you knew exactly what you were doing, Victor, so come on, just stop it already. But when it comes to this particular conversation, I'm going to keep it completely real, and I don't think Vic is the person anybody should be taking advice from here. My boy BP actually hit me up about something Vic dropped back in 2023 where he talked about wanting to be white at one point in his life and wishing he had blue eyes. That was basically the whole idea behind the song Blue Eyes. And when I heard that, I was like, oh no, I'm not even going down this road. Because we're not about to sit here and pretend none of this matters. You're the one who seems conflicted and confused about some of these issues, yet now you're sitting around eating oranges and trying to give everybody a lecture. Nah, look, bro, I'm just not trying to hear it from him. And I'm keeping that all the way 1,000 with y'all. So let's really break down this conversation and how this works in the real world, because I'm going to call it exactly how I see it. Black people from America, man, we constantly get told that we have to identify a certain way because of where our ancestors came from, or because certain people choose to wear African clothing and embrace African culture. Personally, if somebody calls me African American, I'm not offended by it at all. But if we're being completely honest, everybody understands, including people actually from Africa, that African American and African are not the same thing. So why are we pretending like we don't understand the difference? It is what it is. Then you look at other countries around the world with large black populations, and they aren't constantly being told they have to put African in front of their identity. You can go throughout the Caribbean or South America, and Brazil has one of the largest black populations outside of Africa, yet people there aren't walking around being told they have to identify as African Brazilian or Afro-Brazilian every time they introduce themselves. Now obviously there are Latino people who proudly identify as Afro-Latino, and that's completely their choice. But even then, plenty of people simply identify with their own country and culture without having to explain anything beyond that. But when it comes to Black Americans, it sometimes feels like there's this expectation that we have to wear a certain label and constantly reconnect ourselves to a place that many of us have no direct family connection to. You can go to Jamaica and hear somebody say, "I'm Jamaican," and that's the end of the conversation, because they don't have to walk around saying African Jamaican every time they talk about themselves. And when it comes to white Americans or people of European descent who have been in America for generations, if their parents or grandparents aren't directly from Italy, Germany, or somewhere else in Europe, most of them are simply going to say they're American or they're white. They're not walking around saying, I'm European American, or explaining their exact European background every single time. So why does the standard suddenly change when we're talking about Black Americans? It's almost like people expect us to constantly carry the identity of people who lived thousands of miles away, even though our families have been here for generations. And let's not forget that there were already people living here before the colonizers arrived, while other American families can trace their descendants back hundreds of years without being forced to carry some distant label every time they speak. So honestly, bro, people need to relax with all of this and stop acting like there's only one acceptable way for Black Americans to identify themselves. Let's keep it completely real, man, because sometimes the simplest answer is to just stop forcing the issue. But y'all tell me what you think, because as far as Vic Mensa goes, I don't think he's the guy to be leading this particular conversation. Do what you do, have your own opinions, and you absolutely have the right to feel how you feel. But at some point, people are allowed to push back and say, nah, you need to chill. Stay on your pivot, man, and let everybody relax.